Gen Xers, and I'm talking about your 41 to 50 years of age individuals, racked in $146,164 on average. Wowzy, wowzy, wow. What's going on, guys? Your boy RedpillCanuck back again with another YouTube video. Shout out to the Canuck Squad for being involved and being active on this YouTube channel. And today is Money Monday, the day when we put our minds to our money and put our money in our mind. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is Money Monday. Thank you for tuning in. This is the day where we talk about money and we forget about tail. Anyway, before we continue, today's Money Monday is, of course, brought to you by our sponsor, RedpillCanuck.com, the Red Pill Canuck Daily Pill, where we get our wonderful topics, our weird news, and also our podcasts are on there as well. And speaking of podcasts, again, if you are listening on one of our alternative platforms, of course, we are on Apple Podcasts, and of course, we are on Spotify. So if you're tuning in from there, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for listening. And if you are listening, make sure you check out my YouTube channel and hit that like button and subscribe button. And if you're watching here on YouTube, do the same. Like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Today's video, I actually been covering this story from the beginning. I actually did 2 videos on this, and I gave my take on it. And, of course, I had a mixed reaction on it. But it looks like my prediction was somewhat right. This is one of the times I didn't want to be right. So let's start at the very beginning. So first of all, we had the student loan forgiveness announcement. I did a video on this back in August. And I thought it was going to be, honestly, you know what? I thought it was unusual for President Biden to make an announcement like this. I'm like, you know what? Okay. Interesting. But I did have a little bit of my doubts in the back of my mind. Then I did another video back in October 17th to be exact, where things kind of had quite a bit of hiccups in regards to if this actually is going to be done. Can it be done? And of course, and actually, funny thing is, a lot of people didn't realize this, that at the time of the video, I did 700,000 borrowers were no longer qualified, but by the time the video was released, it actually went to 800,000. I'm not sure what the number is today, and who knows what it is today, because they're not really announcing it. But now, today, this article came out. Actually, no, this article came out on the 22nd. Yep, President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan temporarily halted by the appeals court. And we all know that it was not going to be easy to kind of have this legal. A lot of us had our doubts if this can even be possible. So let's get into this article briefly. By the way, today's title is scrolling across your screen. And the reason why I decided to choose this title is because who knows when or if this is actually going to be a thing. So, ladies, gentlemen, it's time to take the bull by the horns. I know you all are excited and are wanting this to be a thing, to have your student loans forgiven. It may be a pipe dream. It may be a reality that is going to happen way into the future, but it's not going to happen tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We have to come to the realization that it's going to be a long, long while. So why not take responsibility for the debt that you all accumulated and start paying it off? I know that's not what you want to hear from me, and you don't want to hear the reality because we all don't like reality sometimes. But fact of the matter is, the longer you wait, the worse it will be. This is a little monologue, obviously. It took a little bit of thinking to come up with this video. I kind of delayed on it, to be quite frank, because I wanted to make sure I had all the information. But fact of the matter is, the way the world is going, the way the economy is going, if you have any chance of getting debt free, now is technically the time. I know you guys are probably saying, no, it's not because the economy is not good. We're in a recession, whatnot. It's my opinion. It may, and this is alleged, it could only get worse. So why not start now, then wait until it gets even more and more worse? So, but yeah, today's video, we're gonna help you out here. I've done some research, and yeah, but let's get into this article first. Let's continue our journey into this whole student loan forgiveness story that obviously does not have a happy ending yet. So let's get into the article here. Late Friday evening, the federal appeals court put a temporary halt on President Joe Biden's student debt forgiveness program, preventing loans from being canceled until the court reviews the legal challenge. Yet the White House is still encouraging applications. So there's supposed to be a halt on this while they figure all the legalities if it can actually be done. But of course, the White House, good old White House, says, you know what? Keep them applications coming. Now, I'm not sure if he assumes that this is still going to go through and it's still a possibility. That's why he's encouraging these applications. Or, on the flip side, allegedly, he could be, I don't know, giving you all false hope. I don't know. I'm not in Congress. I'm not even in your country. So I'm basically speaking from the outside. But fact of the matter is, in all reality, debt is debt. So no matter where debt is going to be the same. So the procedures should be the same. Right? Right. Anyway, continuing. In response to the court's temporary hold, White House Press Secretary Jean-Pierre gave a statement. Tonight's temporary order does not prevent borrowers from applying for the student loan relief. And we encourage eligible borrowers to join the nearly 22 million Americans. Yeah, you're hearing that right. 22 million Americans whose information the Department of Education already has. So 22 million. That is a lot. It also does not prevent us from reviewing the applications and preparing them for transmission for loan servicers. So, of course, I'm not telling you not to send your application. You can send it in. Why not? It doesn't hurt. My only advice to you, and again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my alleged non-biased opinion. Why not still pay it? Because fact of the matter is, the most, depending on your situation, the most you're going to get back is $20,000. $20,000. If you have a student loan of $80,000, you still have $60,000 you got to pay back. What are you going to do with that? You still got to pay it back regardless. So why not get a heads up on it and start paying it even before this is done? Or at least have the money set aside so that way you can get rid of it. Like, honestly, there is availability to get rid of this debt today, right now, or at least start your path on being debt free. you might as well do it because we all only have a limited time. The way this economy is going, this is my opinion, allegedly. The way the economy is going, you only have a set amount of time to make money, to have access to money, to take care of your debts. Because it is going to get a lot harder to do whatever you have to do. And the sad thing is that the opportunity you may have today to make money may not be available tomorrow. So anyway, continuing. Up to $20,000 of debt per application could be canceled under the new plan. The Congressional Budget Office estimated that the program could cost $400 billion over the next 30 years. 400 billion with a B over the next 30 years. Holy cheese. Wow. The case that was brought up by 6 Republican-led states, Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas, Nebraska, South Carolina, and Iowa, that contend that Biden doesn't have the authority to grant such a sweeping loan without approval from Congress. In response, the government said because of the 2003 federal law, Higher Education Relief Opportunities for Students, the HERO Act, and the Department of Education has a broad authority to manage federal student loan, federal aid programs. The district court dismissed the suit earlier this week, stating that the states did not establish standing. On Thursday, a separate attempt to block Biden's loan forgiveness plan, Supreme Court Justice Amy Barrett rejected an emergency request from the Taxpayer Association and was to halt the policy. So this obviously is having its issues along the way. We can't argue that. This is not all cut and dry. Continuing. Early on Friday, while giving remarks at a Delaware State University, President Biden called out Republicans, including Marjorie Greene, who criticized his loan forgiveness plan as being hypocritical as they have a massive PPP loan forgiven. Representative Vern Buckingham of Florida said that our plan was reckless. Guess how much he got in that program forgiven? $2.3 million. Wow. Shots fired. Jeez. Wow. Biden continued. Ted Cruz, the great senator of Texas, said is for the slackers who don't deserve relief. Oh, it said that the program is for slackers who don't deserve relief. Who the HELL do they think they are? In response, Cruz tweeted that Biden had an unforgivable gale for comparing PPP loans to loans forgiven. He gave his Ivy League slacker fringe liberal base to buy their votes. Wow. So, yeah, this is not going well. Whew, okay. And there's actually a video here, so we're going to play this video here. Let's see what Biden has to say here. Fair use. Actually, we don't have to do fair use on this. This is a tweet, so we don't really have to do fair use, but I just like to say fair use just in case. Oh, okay, we're going to good old Twitter.
Republicans, officials who had hundreds of thousands of dollars of debts, even millions of dollars in pandemic relief loans forgiven, who now are attacking me for helping working class and middle class Americans. My team at the White House posted a video of this, folks, online. You should check it out. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she and her husband got $180,000 in business loans forgiven from the PPP program. She said it's completely unfair for us to forgive student loans for working and middle class Americans. Representative Vern Buchanan of Florida said our plan was reckless. Guess how much he got in that program forgiven? $2,300,000. This is not a joke. Can't make this stuff up. Republican governors wrote me a letter saying this relief only helps the elite few. You all know you're the elite few? I knew you were really special, but I know you're the elite few. I'm serious. Ted Cruz, the great senator from Texas, he said it's for slackers, quote, slackers who don't deserve relief. Who in the hell do they think they are?
Wow.
But the I want to hear.
Wow. So he is definitely emptying dirty laundry. Oh, boy. Wow. Wowzy, 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 wowzy. Yeah. Wow. We're almost done with this article. Let's continue just a little bit more. As for Biden's administration continuing to face legal challenges, it has said it would be not... What? Okay. It has said it would not begin to cancel debt before Sunday, October 23rd, the deadline for the government to respond to the states filing Monday, while the deadline of the states to reply of the government on Tuesday. Okay, anyway. Oh, wow. That is... It's quite interesting. So this is obviously... This is going to be a huge uphill battle. And it only gets even more interesting. Biden said wow. Sorry, I almost tripped over my words. Biden said Congress passed student loan cancellation. That's a lie, and you should care. So he's saying that it was passed by Congress. What? Okay. We got another video, guys. we got quite a bit of videos today. Okay, so let's hopefully there's no ad, but let's play this here. Are you gonna play? Okay, what is going on here? Why is it not playing? Did they take the video down? Okay, let me try reloading. Let me try that, see if that will work. Oh, there we go. Okay.
So I'm late, folks. Thank you very much for being here.
Okay, what's wrong with the video? Maybe we don't have a video? Oh, we got an ad, of course. Is that why the video won't play? Because it wants to play an ad? Okay, shout out to GM? I don't know who this is. Yeah, GM.
Being here. Less than 8 weeks ago,
There we go.
I announced my administration's plan to forgive up to $10,000 in federal student loan debt and up to $20,000 if you received a Pell Grant for folks earning less than $125,000 a year. Today, I'm announcing how millions of people, working and middle-class folks, can apply for get this relief, and it's simple, and it's now. It's easy, it's fast. At the end of my remarks, I'm going to officially launch this new application site at studentaid.gov, studentaid.gov. You'll be able to fill out your name, Social Security number, date of birth, and contact information. No forms to upload. This is a game changer for millions of Americans. And the Secretary insisted that that had to be tested over the weekend. It landed and handled more than 8 million applications without a glitch or any difficulty. We had over 10,000 people contact the White House to either send us letters or calls thanking us. It means more than 8 million Americans are starting this week on their way to receiving a life-changing relief that they're looking for. My commitment was, if elected president, I was going to make government work to deliver for the people. This rollout keeps that commitment. In total, more than 40 million Americans can stand to benefit from this relief. And about 90% of that relief is going to go to people making less than $75,000 a year. Let me be clear. Not a dime will go to those in the top 5% of the income bracket, period. I will never apologize for helping working Americans and middle-class people as they recover from the pandemic.
Okay. I don't know what you guys think about that, but wow. Okay. Let's go into the article. During a weekend interview with the Progressive Group, This Is Now News, President Joe Biden made a startling claim that he had signed a law to forgive student loan debt. After going into some detail on how much the law would offer 40 million Americans, he also said it's passed. I got it passed by a vote of 2, and it's in effect. A vote or 2, and it's in effect. Let's break down this claim. Biden, on his own executive action, announced a sweeping debt relief in August. It absolutely did not go through Congress, nor was it signed into law. Wow. Okay. It should have gone through the legislative process. However, Biden must know it having served for decades in the Senate. Okay. Oh my God. Congress controls the purse and serves as a check on the executive branch. Yet Biden had no problem alternatively legislating this forgiveness, which will cost taxpayers at least $500 billion with a B dollars. And the student loan debt doesn't magically disappear. It becomes a burden on all Americans to shoulder and will add to our ongoing national debt. With inflation already sky high, it is also a terrible time to inflate the economy with more cash, which is very true. So where is the outrage? For some reason, Biden does look outraged in this photo. Let's get back to what the president said. Imagine if this were former President Donald Trump and had tried to pawn off to Congress a congressional executive action he took. I guarantee widespread outrage would be ensued, which is actually very true because you know what? Again, I'm not taking sides here, but if it is true, if this were Trump, you guys would be going crazy. Remember, y'all think orange hair bad. Orange man hair bad. That's what I said. Anyway, it didn't happen with Biden's lie outside initial attention from conservative media. So he went and pulled this, and no one batted an eye. And again, I'm not trying to get political here. I'm not trying to take sides where probably y'all probably saying, "Oh, you're a Republican," or "You're a Democrat." Ladies, gentlemen, I am not either. I don't even live in the US, so I am not taking sides. I am literally going off what I see in front of me and making my unbiased, alleged opinion. Yeah, that was a mouthful. The timing is especially embarrassing for the president as his administrative battles multiple lawsuits arguing that the executive action on loans is unconstitutional. On Friday, an appeals court granted 6 states a stay, which places student loan forgiveness on hold. And of course, lawsuits exposed the plan's flaws. Biden's fly by the seat of his pants approach to canceling student loans is creating a huge mess. And honestly, based on my opinion, alleged, yeah, that's an understatement. The Biden administration said that as of Friday, 22 million borrowers have filed for forgiveness. And of course, they said, who doesn't like free stuff? The administration encouraged people to keep applying despite the legal issues. When asked about Biden's latest gaffe, the White House awkwardly claimed that the president was talking about a passed this summer Inflation Reduction Act, which offered savings for student loan bailouts. So he's trying to shuffle here. He's trying to do a little shuffle. I don't have any shuffling music, but yeah, that's basically what he was trying to do. Anyway, is Biden making these decisions? Biden is no stranger to these kinds of blunders, but it seems to be happening more frequently. In recent weeks, he has struggled mightily to say big numbers. I struggle quite a lot to say a lot of things, so I'll give him a pass on this, but you're the president. You shouldn't. You should at least have somebody saying it for you then. At the event in September, he called out a late Rep. Walensky, who had died in the previous month of a car accident. Wow. So I don't know what to say. I think is Biden slipping? Is he slipping and sliding and shuffling? And I don't know. I think he might be losing it. Allegedly, my opinion. I don't know. And now, confusing the executive action Biden himself made with an act of Congress is a big deal, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. And are Republicans semi-fascists? I don't think so. I really don't know, but anyway, that's what it says here. President Biden's basket of deplorables moment will play well. Anyway, so yeah, so there's some shuffling going on here. Guys, I said this was not going to be easy, and this was not going to be it wasn't going to be a straightforward thing. Of course, it's going to cost taxpayers over $500 billion. $500 billion. And that, I don't think all the applications are even in yet. They're still sending in applications. Who knows how much it's going to cost? It's probably going to cost close to $1 trillion at this rate. So what does that mean to you guys? It means it's going to take, first of all, it's going to take longer to pass. And second of all, for other people who are going to take loans in the future, my opinion, you're going to be paying even higher rates. Yeah, those interest rates are going to be even higher to pay back because, again, when it comes to the government, nothing is free. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing is free with the government. The government will take, or they will give, but they shall also take it away. And sometimes they take it away tenfold. So, what is your take on this, ladies and gentlemen? What is your take? Let me know in the comments below. But your boy's here to help you out.
Those who never seem to
okay, that ad just came out of nowhere. The government must have heard me. Anyway, so I did do a little bit of research. So there are several ways you can actually get out of debt. So let's get into this article here. And of course, getting out of debt is not easy. I love how they start this off. Sometimes it takes all you have to keep up with monthly payments and to save money for a rainy day. But if you only make the minimum payments to your creditors, your risk of getting trapped in debt could take several months or years to dig yourself out of that hole. So making minimum payments is not always a good thing. Sometimes you have to pay a little bit more. Fortunately, there are plenty of ways to get out of debt where you won't be miserable. You can adjust your budget and free up funds to pay more than the minimum for your debts each month, or refinance your accounts using a debt called a consolidation loan or balance transfer card. Another viable strategy is adopting the debt snowball method or using financial windfalls to eliminate your balance faster. Or last resort, you can settle your debts for less than what you owe. The right strategy depends on your unique situation and financial goals. So this is actually what I found very interesting. What is the average debt per person? And Y'all in the US, I feel sorry for you because apparently the average American has $96,371 in debt. And this is as of 2021. Now, there could be a lot of factors, obviously. It could have been had to do with the pandemic. It could have been a thing with shutdowns. It could have been a lot of factors could have been, it could have been taking part in this. But of course, this kind of debt includes mortgages, credit card balances, student loans, auto loans, personal loans, and whatnot. But this is the part I found very interesting because, and I was very surprised about it because I was about to blame y'all Gen Zs. Because y'all Gen Zs be crazy. You be doing insane things and just look on TikTok. But they actually had a generation breakdown. And ironically, Gen Z has the lowest debt per load. They're the lowest. So there's actually a breakdown per generation and how much the average was. Gen Z only had $20,803 on average. And guess who had the most? Oh yeah, you good old Gen Xers. You Gen Xers, and I'm talking about your 41 to 50 years of age individuals, racked in $146,164 on average. Wowzy, wowzy, wows. My God. And of course, y'all baby boomers, y'all boomer ass people, don't think you're out of the woods. You got $95,607. Yep. And y'all millennials, you think you're going to get off of this? You think you're going to get off scot-free? Y'all millennials have $100,906. Was quite surprised with these numbers. And of course, you got the silent generation for 76 and up because some of them are probably, they're probably this here. Let us have a moment of silence because they are the silent generation. Because some of them may be dead. They basically got out of debt because they're dead. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's why they call it the silent generation. But anyway. So, good old millennials and Gen X cause most of these issues. And of course, y'all baby boomer ass people too. Gen Z is off the hook today. You know what? I'm going to give Gen Z a round of applause. Because it's very rare that I give Gen Z a pass. It's very rare, but then again, y'all too young. And some of you ain't going to school. So that could be the reason why too. But anyway. But you know what? I had to put that out there. We have to face reality of our debt. Because what a lot of you people do, and I used to do the same thing, myself included, you take your debt and you sweep it under the rug, and you figure, you know what? Out of sight, out of mind. I don't need to pay attention to it because I don't see it. What I don't see doesn't affect me. Oh yeah, it affects you. And it just builds up and up and up until you can see it. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to tackle this debt here. We're going to face reality. That's the first thing. So me ridiculing y'all by generations was the first step. Acceptance. You have to accept what your generation put towards the overall debt. Recognize it. Embrace it. So that way you can deal with it. So there's different strategies you can get out of debt. First of all, pay more than the minimum payment, which a lot of people do pay the minimum payments. So when you get that credit card bill, it says you ain't got to pay $23. You all even pay $23. Sometimes you'll pay $24. So it's better to pay a little bit more. So let's get into this. Go through your budget and decide how much extra you want to put towards your debt. Paying more than the minimum will save you money on interest and help you get out of debt faster, which is true. Like I said, with the credit card debt. Let's say you have $15,000 balance on your credit card with 17% APR and a $450 minimum payment. If you only make the minimum payment, it will take you almost 4 years to repay the balance. You'll pay more than $5,500 in total interest. If you pay $550, which is obviously $100 more than the minimum, you could repay the debt in less than 3 years and only pay $4,100 in total interest. Why this works? Paying more than the minimum helps reduce the principal balance of your credit card debt faster. So schedule an extra payment before the due date in the current billing cycle. It can also be added to the monthly minimum payments. So pay a little bit more, and of course, it does reduce the amount, which again reduces the interest rate. Makes sense? Good. So we're on the right track here. Now, this is actually one tactic I like to use personally, and it's called the debt snowball. I like using the debt snowball because it, like a snowball, when you push a snowball down a hill, obviously it gains momentum, it picks up more snow and whatnot, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're gonna explain it here for y'all that don't understand what I'm saying. But basically, the snowball effect, it allows you to knock out smaller debts faster, so that way it gets to the bigger debts. So let's get into this one. If you're paying more than the minimum payment, you should also try the debt snowball method for debt reduction. The debt repayment method asks you to make a minimum payment of your debts except for the smallest one, which you would pay as much as you can. By snowballing payments towards the smallest debt, you'll eliminate more quickly and move on to the next smallest debt while paying the minimum on the rest. So this kind of contradicts the first part because they're telling you to pay the minimum payment on the other ones. Me personally, I would still pay a little bit extra on the other ones and use the snowball method because obviously it will knock out the balance even faster. So here's an example. Let's say you have $5,000 credit card debt and $1,000 auto loan and $10,000 in student loans. With the debt snowball method, you can focus on paying off the auto loan first because it's the lowest balance total. Make sense? Following? Okay, good. The debt snowball method can help motivate you to focus on one debt at a time instead of multiple, helping you build momentum and stay on track, which is true. I've done this personally, and it does work quite well. But what I do is, and to contrary to what they're saying here, I usually I don't do the minimum payment. I would put more, a little bit more. I don't want to say put too much, but I would put more than the minimum payment on the rest of them. So that way they could be knocked out faster. That way I get down that interest rate at the same time. So it's a double whammy. I like to call it the double whammy. So the debt snowball method can help you motivate. Okay, I read that part already. Okay, you should only disregard the debt snowball method as an option if you have a payday loan. Okay, so don't do this if you have a payday loan or a title loan. Okay, a title loan, I don't know what that means. I think that might be, I don't know what a title loan is. These are loans that are higher interest rates between 300. What? Am I reading this right? Payday loans, they have a higher interest rate between 300% and 400% APR on average and should be paid off as soon as possible. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is one. If you take anything out of this video today, take this. Do not ever do payday loans. I know a lot of y'all are probably struggling financially. And of course, they try to tantalize you with all these flashy advertisements, and it may look good on the surface, but I know this to be true. I've known people who took payday loans and they end up paying quadruple more than they should have. Where's my buzzer? There's my buzzer. Stay away from payday loans at all costs. It doesn't make any sense because you end up paying a lot more. But honestly, here in Canada, we don't have it this high. But y'all in the States, I'm not surprised. 300 to 400%. That is insane. You're basically flushing money down the toilet when you take a payday loan. Anyway. Say why this works, you'll see quickly implemented a snowball method, keeping you motivated. Okay. So this is how to start. Start your outstanding balance, debt balance, and arrange them from smallest to highest. So again, small snowball will bring it to the big one. Continue paying the minimum on all your debts. Again, my opinion, pay a little bit more than the minimum. And allocate the extra funds to the debt with the lowest balance until it's paid in full. Repeat the process with the next smallest debt on the list. So just keep on going and going and going. Refinancing debt. So that's the third one here. I don't know much about debt consolidation. To be honest, there are companies that will bring all your debts together in order to get a smaller APR. I'm not sure about how I can recommend which companies because obviously I'm not in the States. But you can do your research on this. I heard some people in some situations were able to refinance their debt and able to knock it out faster. You're going to honestly, I do apologize. You're going to have to do your own research for this one. So I don't have that much space, but I will read this one anyway. Refinancing debt to a lower interest rate can save you hundreds in interest and help you repay the debt faster. You can refinance mortgages, auto loans, personal loans, and student loans. I actually heard this done for student loans before. One way to do this through debt consolidation loan, a personal loan that may come with a lower interest rate than your existing debts. You may also consider transferring the debt to a balanced transfer card if you have any credit card debt. These cards have 0 APR, percent APR for a specific time frame, usually between 6 to 18 months. So basically it's taking everything and you're kind of banging out all your debts at the same time, but it's giving you a lower interest rate to do so. That's basically what it is. So how it works, refinancing can give you a lower interest rate, predictable monthly payments, and set loan terms helping you finish past. So basically that's what I said. So how to start, research debt consolidation options to determine what's best for you. If you decide on the debt consolidation loan, get pre-approved to find the best rate. If a balance transfer card is your pick, then make sure you can afford the payments in full before the promotional period ends. What I actually do recommend, and again, I don't have too much experience, but I know people who have done this. If you are actually trying to find a company who you want to do this consolidation for you, you can actually pick several companies, get a quote, and I had a friend who actually did this. What she did, she had two companies having a bidding war against each other. I found it very interesting how she was able to pull this off. So she actually went to one company and she said, okay, you know what? I have all these loans. What's the best you can give me? So they gave her a percentage. So then she took that same email and she went to the competing company, said, you know what, I want to, do my consolidation with you guys, but this is what company A gave me. Can you beat it or match it? Then what she did, the same quote that she got from company B, she went back to company A and she kept on rinse, repeat until she finally got to a point where the company said, okay, yeah, we can't go lower than this. She did this for quite a while. And she ended up getting the lowest rate possible between the both companies. And they both basically said, okay, yeah, we can't go further than that. And then she went through there and she ended up saving quite a bit of money. So that's the advice I can give to you guys. Again, I don't have too much advice on consolidation and whatnot because obviously things might be different there in the States. But this is what my friend did. And yeah, she was able to get a ridiculously low rate by doing this method. So that's a little tip for you guys. So tip number 4, commit windfalls to debt. So when you get your tax return, so this has to do with your tax return or your stimulus check. I don't think you guys get stimulus checks anymore. But this when it comes to your tax return, add money to your loans instead of saving it in your bank account or splurging on yourself. If you decide to commit to entire windfall or split in 50-50 debt or for something fun, like a future vacation or something. So what they're saying here is when you get your tax return, when you get your money back, instead of going and buying the new iPhone or buying a new TV or buying whatever, of course you can splurge a little bit on yourself. But the best thing to do is to put some on your debt and sock some away for a vacation or whatnot at the end of the year. Instead of wasting your money on taking all friends to the club, buying Hennessy, buying bottles, and buying tables, and then all your tax money's gone. So that's what they're basically saying here. So whatever money that you get in, like say if you, again, tax returns, or this could even apply if you get money for Christmas, for instance. A lot of people are giving money for Christmas as opposed to giving gifts nowadays. So that what you can do is you can do the same exact thing. And actually, I think it says it right here. Other unexpected windfalls like inheritance, work bonuses, and cash gifts. Okay, so it did say that here. Can also be used to pay down debt faster. Remember, every little bit helps when working towards your debt-free goals. So again, Christmas is coming. I don't have a Christmas soundbite here, but I'm going to put one on here eventually. So when you get money for Christmas, you can actually put it towards your debt. Why not start the year debt-free, or at least closer to that? That would be a good gift for yourself, wouldn't it? Anyway. Okay, so let's see. Why not put in a financial windfall and build a momentum? Okay. So how to start, decide how you'll allocate your funds and apply the amount to what you choose to your debt balance, promptly avoiding temptation to overspend. Okay. Okay, so the 5th one, settle for less than you owe. Okay. You can also call these creditors. So if you have any creditors that you have your debts with, you can actually call them and you can actually try to negotiate with them because they are a third party and whatnot. So you might be able to negotiate with them. So what it says here, you can also call creditors and negotiate a settlement for your debt. So they will say if you owe your account is with a creditor and you owe $5,000. Sometimes you can negotiate with them. It's okay. You know what? If you pay today, you only have to pay $4,000. So that's another way. Okay. Usually there's a lot of less that you owe. While it's possible to take care of yourself, an array of third-party companies can also offer debt settlement service for a fee. So you can either do this yourself or you can go to a company and they can do this for you. A lot of people don't know this, but usually when companies, what they do, say T-Mobile, for instance, say if you have an account at T-Mobile and your account goes into collections, a lot of these companies will buy these collection accounts for pennies on the dollar. So that's how they make their profit. So a lot of times they're open to negotiation. It obviously does impact your credit because you're in collections. That's not a good thing. But whether they have a little bit more room to negotiate. So say if you have a $500 T-Mobile bill, sometimes you can get it down to like $300 or whatever, because obviously for the amount that they paid for these accounts, they just want to make their money back or make a profit. So they have a little bit more wiggle room to negotiate. So anyway, continuing with this part here. While paying less for what you owe and escaping old debts seems smart, the Federal Trade Commission does mention there's some risk. For starters, some debt settlement companies ask you to stop making payments on your debt while you're negotiating better terms, which can negatively impact your credit score. So you got to take an effect with your credit score here as well. That's also a risk. And that's pretty much always a risk anyway. So again, it says, why does this work? You only be paying a portion of what you owe, and you can move on knowing that there's no longer owed to these creditors. So how to start? Contact your creditor, offer settlements if you agree, get the terms in writing, or you can hire a reputable debt settlement company to do this legwork for you. So again, you can do this on your own, or you can, So, and of course, the last one is re-examine your budget. So hopefully you all have a budget out there, because obviously you have to have a plan. Like anything in life, you have to have a battle plan. And in order to get debt free, of course, a battle plan is needed for budgeting, of course. So there are two ways to pay off your debt faster: earn more or spend less. You can actually do both. But anyway, it may not be feasible to pick up a part-time job or a side hustle, but you can adjust your budget. Start by looking at each item of your spending plan and arranging them based on their levels of importance. Clarify each line item as you need it or want, highlighting expenses that can be reduced or eliminated. Make necessary adjustments to your budget and use the freed money to pay off the extra money to pay off your monthly debts. And of course, why does this work? Because, of course, you make a short-term financial sacrifice to free up funds that can be used to pay down your balance faster. Now, what I usually do is with my budget, because I do have a budget plan. I use my budget plan over the pandemic, which luckily I was good. When you have a plan, you can easily take money from one area and put into another. For instance, say if you write down how much you have, and you realize you're spending a little bit too much on food. What you can also do is you can kind of adjust it. And also what I do recommend is kind of budgeting the money that you have as opposed to the money that you think you're going to get. Because obviously in life, there's so much inconsistencies. You never know if you're going to be late for work. Because a lot of people, what they do is that they look at, and you know what, it's not your fault. I'm going to blame this on society and the way society has trained us. We always assume budgeting had to do with future money. It actually has to do with money you already have. Of course, it does have a little bit of responsibility of future money, of course, because you have to know where you're going. But the main focus should be the money that you already have on hand. So that way you can better budget. Because how are you going to budget money that is not in hand? Because you don't know what's going to happen by your next paycheck. You don't know if the cable bill is going to go up by $50, or ketchup is not going to be $3, it's going to be $6 by the time you get paid again. So there's a lot of different factors out there. So the best thing to do is to focus on the money that you have right now in your possession as opposed to future money. And of course, when you get your future money, it will become current money, and then you can adjust your budget and whatnot. That's just my opinion. That's what I've been doing, and that's what I used to do and still do today. So again, how to start. Access your spending plan to determine where to make cuts. Move these funds to your debt payoff fund. So they have an actual fund just for debt of your spending, and use them for extra payments every month. Okay, there we go. So how debt negatively impacts your life. Obviously, it impacts it quite a bit. So we just have a little bit left here. So let's just read it. Let's read how it impacts your life. We all know how it impacts it already, but let's just read this anyway. So being in debt can make qualifying for other loans difficult and lead to a higher borrowing cost. This can also prevent you from landing your dream job. See, a lot of people don't realize how debt. I keep on thinking I'm saying death, but it's debt. People don't realize how debt can actually impact whatever you're doing in the future. For example, say if you're in debt and you want to get a new car. Sometimes you won't be able to refinance that new car. And if you do finance that new car, they might give you a higher interest rate because they know you have debt. And if you have debt in the land of financial, they assume that you're not responsible. So that's why they take more of a risk with you. It's okay, yeah, we'll give you that loan, but we're going to charge you, 40% as opposed we'll charge you 20%. So, and so on and so on. So debt to income ratio. So let's get into this one here. Borrowing with high debt to income ratio facing greater challenges when attempting to qualify for loan products. For example, if you want to buy a house, most lenders require you to have a debt to income ratio of 43% or less including future mortgage payments. So let's say you have $300 student loan, $500 auto loan payment, and a $200 minimum payment on your credit card. The debt to loan ratio is calculated by dividing your total monthly debt payment by your monthly gross income. So if your monthly gross salary is $3,750, your DTI, as they call it, is 26.67%. In this instance, the maximum mortgage payment you would qualify is $612.50. Depending on your location, finding a home within this range could be almost impossible. Interesting. If your DTI already exceeds 43% without a mortgage payment, you can find it impossible to qualify for a mortgage, which actually a lot of people are having issues with today. That's why a lot of young people are not able to get homes. And this actually, the same thing is happening here in Canada. I think we have something similar to DTI over here. I think we might call it something different. But that's why a lot of young people can't get homes because of this issue. Okay, so if your DTI exceeds 43% on your okay, I spread that part already. Having too much debt can also make it harder for saving for retirement, your child's education, and other goals, which is actually very true as well. By the way, how many of you guys are actually planning for retirement? A lot of you guys ain't planning, eh? All you guys think you're going to work forever, be forever young, and just work to your, until you're that certain state and just do this here. No one's planning for retirement, eh? I hope you guys are. Like, I'm trying to lighten the mood a little bit, but if not, I'm trying to shake you up a little bit. You got to start planning for retirement because obviously we ain't going to all work forever. You're going to want to chill when you get in your older age. So start planning for retirement as well. We're going to do probably another video about that. We're not going to cover that today because this video is kind of getting long. We're almost at the hour mark. So yeah, we're just going to finish up here. So let's get into interest rates. So credit utilization, or the amount of your credit limit on revolving accounts for 30% of your credit score. Your credit score could also be lowered if you carry high balances on your credit card and have struggled to pay more than the minimum monthly balance. Unfortunately, lenders and creditors perceive borrowers with lower credit scores as riskier. So make sure you all check your credit scores regularly. And to be frank, a lot of people don't actually check it. And there could be fraudulent activity and you don't even know it because don't forget, we're in the age of technology here. I know a friend of mine who actually, she ended up checking her credit score and her credit score wasn't as high. So of course I figured that, she's not paying her bills or whatever, but this is the type of person, she would pay her bills religiously. Like she would pay her bills in advance. So I found it a little bit interesting. I thought she was lying, but when she actually went and checked her credit, she realized there was stuff on her credit that she never even applied for. There was credit cards on there. There was cell phones on there. So anyway, when they did an investigation, she ended up going to the police. She ended up going to TransUnion, and we have Equifax over here. And they ended up realizing that her social insurance card was being used all over the place. So it was actually fraud. So luckily she was able to catch it, and actually the police ended up telling her it's luckily she ended up catching it before these people, because at that time she did have good credit, and she still had good credit, to be fair, but it wasn't as high as it was before. And when she went to the police said that she was very lucky that these people whoever did this didn't try to take out a house somewhere, and that she owned a house. So she got very lucky. So another advice, if I can give you, that you can take away from this video today, is make sure you check your credit regularly to make sure that you don't have any, suspicious, good old monkey business on your credit report. Make sure everything on there belongs to you. Okay, anyway, continuing. So job credit checks. If you work in law enforcement, financial service, or the military, your employer may conduct a credit check when you apply. You may be rejected if you have too much debt risk because the vulnerable financial situation will put you at satisfactory risk in accepting bribes. Okay, I never actually thought of this one. So what they're trying to say here is that if they run your credit and your credit is ish, they think you will take bribes in order to pay off your debt. I never thought of this. So I guess they don't care about your ethics, eh? They care more about your debt. They care more about your credit at this point. Wow, okay. So the bottom line, so it can be challenging to break the chains of debt bondage. Excuse me. But following these strategies, you can make strides in getting out of debt, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, there's quite a few other things that you can do that they didn't mention here. You could also get a side hustle. I know a lot of people, and I'm actually going to be doing a video for next Money Monday on, because obviously I don't want to make this video too long. I just kind of want to give you the groundwork and talk about how this student loan forgiveness is. I'm going to make a separate video just for you guys on how you can actually, you know, do certain things in order to make extra money. I feel that I should do this for you guys because I do feel sorry for y'all in the US because, yeah, this is obviously not a good thing when your government tells you something and then, you know. So I am going to be doing a separate video, so look out for that on next Money Monday coming out next week. But we're gonna close up here. So I hope you guys, I hope I did not scare you guys with this, and I hope you didn't take whatever I told you personally, but I hope you did at the same time, because sometimes you need a wake-up call. And a very wise man actually told me this. Sometimes you cannot wait for opportunity to knock on your door. Sometimes you have to go to opportunity. And honestly, if you guys are waiting for this student loan debt forgiveness to take effect, it could be a long time. And why miss the opportunity now when you can actually make money? When later on down the line, you find out this whole thing is not going to be a thing. It's going to be harder, to make money. So why not take the bull by the horns and at least start stacking up some money now to make that debt lower? Because, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this, even if you were to get this student loan forgiveness today and say you end up getting $20,000, you get the maximum, you get 20 grand. What if you owe 100 grand? Is 20 grand really going to make that much of an impact? You're still going to owe $80,000. Of course, you're going to get some knocked off. So you know what? You can't look the gift horse in the mouth, as they say. But you still owe $80,000. How are you going to pay off the $80,000? You're still going to have to do something in order to pay that off. Why not start now where you have so much opportunities to make money and to get your debt reduced? Because again, these might not be accessible to you. And I'm talking about money or options might not be accessible to you later on down the line. So why not just do that today? But again, thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody listening on the podcast. Again, this video was sponsored by RedpillCanuck.com, Red Pill Canuck Daily Pill, where we get all our news articles and whatnot. And thank you all for listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, and we're also on Spotify, thanks for listening again. And of course, the good old like button. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out, and the follow button if you're on the Apple Podcast and Spotify thing. There's a lot of outros here. Anyway, guys, I will see you in the next video. Tuesday's video is going to be very interesting. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting indeed. Anyway, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and we out. Later. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you smash that like button. And to check out our more recent uploads, check here on the top left. And to check out our playlist, check here on the top right. And make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And also check out our Quick Hits channel, which is also located down below for our more bite-sizable content. I'll see you guys in the next one.